Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Where to Start, Talking to Your Child About Cancer. This video is focused on the middle school age range of 9 to 12 years old. If you're interested in learning more about communicating with other age ranges, please be sure to check out our other videos available on our Life with Cancer YouTube channel. Let's start with the why. Why should we be talking about cancer with children? It's completely normal to have worries talking about cancer with your child. Parents want to protect their kids and want them to be happy, and yet everything about this conversation feels hard. It's likely you've never had to have a conversation with your young child about something this difficult. This is new and uncomfortable all at once. There are a lot of concerns that can arise as you prepare to talk to your child about cancer. You may be thinking, my child is too young to understand. I don't want them to be scared or to worry. They need to focus on school, or maybe even their grandmother died from cancer and I don't want them to think I'm going to die. These are all valid concerns which we will address. However, we don't give kids enough credit for what they may have already noticed, like hushed voices, body language and crying, intensity of emotions between parents, more visitors, hospital admissions. Chances are, if you haven't had this conversation yet, your child is starting to notice the changes around them. All of this can be so confusing to kids, which is why we always recommend honest conversations. It creates an open environment for communication and helps them to have language and to build understanding around what they may have already been picking up on. When it's not talked about, kids often create their own story that might even be scarier or more stressful than the current reality. When it is talked about, you have a better idea of what they understand, can correct any wrong ideas, and provide comfort and reassurance where you can. Research supports that kid-friendly information reduces worry, fear, and anxiety because it gives them appropriate explanations for the things they're already noticing all around them. When you start with honesty, that provides you with the foundation to have continuous and appropriate communication throughout the entirety of your cancer treatment. Conversations about cancer require time and preparation. Preparing yourself is just as important as preparing your children. Consider making sure you have the support you need to. Life with Cancer services are available to you. You can talk to your oncology team or speak with a nurse navigator. Think about what you'd like to share. Write it down if that's helpful. Practice with a partner, friends, or a supportive person in your life, or even in the mirror. The more we talk about something, the easier it will be to talk about in the future. Choose the time and setting. Choose a time that is quiet with no interruptions or screens. Additionally, making sure needs are met ahead of time will help. This may mean making sure your child has a snack or that this conversation isn't happening on the way to another appointment. You can consider having comfort items such as snacks or juice or a stuffed animal available to your child. Additionally, it is important to consider the needs of each individual child in the home if there are siblings. Determine a personalized space and environment for each one. There's no right or wrong, but rather what fits the needs of your family best. Regardless, you're still the expert on your child or children. Consider ways that they have reacted to difficult news in the past, especially if they have associations with cancer from prior experience. Be prepared to sit with them through the hard feelings. And lastly, keep in mind that this is not a one-time conversation. If you don't cover everything or are worried about not having all the answers, that's okay. This first conversation is just that. It's the first of ongoing talks. It may even be a really short conversation, setting some sort of expectation or normalization that each conversation doesn't have to be long and in-depth. Now that we have prepared ourselves as best as we can, it's time to start the conversation. As we start this conversation, it's important to provide age-appropriate information. So some things to keep in mind across the board. At this age, it's very possible that your child has Googled cancer before or will Google it after this conversation. With how much information can be found online about cancer, both true and untrue, it's important to take the lead on this conversation by being clear and open to answering their questions. Provide the name of the cancer, being sure to use the word cancer if you can. We understand that there may be many reasons why people hesitate to use the word cancer, so if you still feel it's hard to use, try not to generalize too much by saying sickness. There may be more comfort in naming the cancer by saying things like, I have leukemia, or I have a brain tumor. We can call it a disease and assure them that it is not contagious. You can identify where it is located in the body and how the cancer is treated and what cancer treatment may look like. This might differ depending on each situation, so start with which treatment comes first. Don't feel the need to cover all the information all at once, especially if it may change and cause confusion. And finally, consider how your treatment may affect their everyday lives. For example, you may want to go into the side effects that you experience during treatment, like if fatigue might cause you to not be able to go to their soccer game or pick them up from school, or even hair loss. Let them know if this is a possibility and prepare them for if that might happen. Next, we are going to talk about what to expect during this conversation with your kids. This information will include what is developmentally understood about cancer, as well as what common reactions you can expect. Of course, this information varies from child to child, so consider your own child's unique personality, temperament, and experiences as we go through these examples. Throughout the conversation, take your child's lead. Answer their questions honestly. If they're ready to ask the question, they're likely ready to hear the answer. At the middle school age, your child may have a basic understanding of cancer. They may have more exposure to cancer through media or friends, which also means they might have misinformation about it too. If you decide that it's right for your family to not explicitly use the word cancer, keep in mind that they may still see the word cancer around them and may have questions about it. At this age, you may see magical thinking. Magical thinking is when they might believe their thoughts or actions caused a certain event to occur, such as a cancer diagnosis. An example of magical thinking is, I jumped into mommy's arms too hard last week and now she has cancer there. Or, I was mad at daddy last week and now he has cancer. It's important to reassure your child that nothing they did caused the cancer to happen. Some other things you may notice are some anger or being upset around routine changes or disruptions, hiding their feelings from loved ones, worrying that others will become sick, showing fear and sadness as anger, and maybe even feeling embarrassed that their parent is different. So, as you have these conversations, we have a few language recommendations. Be sure to continue to provide reassurances. No one made this cancer happen. It happened on its own, and we don't know why. You can go into more detail with this age group than younger children, so you may say things like, I have something called skin cancer. I have a new doctor or oncologist who will treat it. They will give me a special medicine called chemotherapy or chemo to help. You want to validate that they might feel awkward or embarrassed, especially when it comes to the side effects they may see. For example, sometimes someone's hair may fall out from the medicine, but it'll grow back. I may look funny or different, and you may feel uncomfortable if that happens, and that is okay. Mommy will be okay even if there are days where the chemo makes me sleepy, upsets my stomach, or makes my hair fall out. It won't last forever, and I'll have good days too. Providing reassurance and validation through this conversation can help to make things less scary and awkward. Keep the door open on this conversation and let your child or children take the lead. They may come to you with questions days after the initial conversation. They were listening, and it's important for them to know that they can talk to you. Don't feel pressured to cover all of the information at once. Conversations should continue from diagnosis throughout cancer treatment and beyond. It's also all right to say, I don't know, in answer to questions that you're unsure of. We can pair that uncertainty with reassurance such as, I don't know, but I trust my doctors are working hard to make sure I get better. Reassurance is also important for addressing the many age-appropriate worries and concerns your child may have. They may not say all concerns out loud, so repetition will be helpful as they process the information. Saying things like, your needs will be met, you will be taken care of. Nothing you did caused my cancer. Cancer is not contagious. Lets them know that you're thinking of them and their needs. Our Life with Cancer Pediatric Team is here to support you and your family as you navigate these conversations. We have more videos about supporting your children through your cancer journey, and our team is available if you have any questions or if you'd like to schedule a parent consultation. We can be reached via email at LWCPeds@ inova.org.